Hey guys, and welcome back to Heart Speak Warriors Forum. This is Jennifer Chappelle. Today we're going to be talking about coping mechanisms for traumatic experiences and stressful situations. I know that most of us think that we have the ability to handle anything that the life throws at us. Some of us lean on the adage that God never gives us more than we can handle. So what I want to do today is talk about the way that we go about handling these things, because even though God may have not given you more than what you can handle, how you handle it is what is super important. As you can tell, I have my helpful crew behind me. They're always there. All five of the tribe are always available for any time you guys might need a therapy animal. All right, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is what stressful situations truly are. Now, some stressful situations for people could be work, could be home, could be family, could just be the general day-to-day life that you lead. It could be a little bit overwhelming trying to get to every soccer match or every church service, or going through, all the traffic, especially here in Hampton Roads. We have, I don't want to say a massive amount of traffic, because I've been in places where traffic is really horrible. But for some people, traffic is a real huge generator of road rage and stress and just, a lot of emotions that we don't normally encounter or shouldn't encounter on a regular basis. So people tend to find ways to cope. Some people listen to music, some people exercise, some people do kickboxing classes, or they will find puzzles, or they will color. There are even adult coloring books that are meant to put you kind of in that Zen mode. There's lots and lots of ways for you to find fantastic coping mechanisms for some of these things. So the first one that I really want to talk to you guys about is when we are doing a detriment to ourselves. That's the first thing I wanted to discuss, that when your coping mechanism is a detriment to you and a detriment to those around you, it's not a great coping mechanism, and we want to replace it with something a little more healthy. So in the event that you encounter I don't want to call it a bad situation, because every situation that we're going to talk about here, it was an encounter, an experience, a moment in time that has now made us better people. We are now more amazing. We are now more awesome than we were before we had that experience. So it was a learning experience. It was an opportunity for us to grow. So when you encounter these opportunities for growth, and they seem to be a little bit more stressful, or a little bit more overwhelming, or just bigger than you thought they would be, we want to talk about how you handle them, whether it's emotionally or physically, whatever seems to be the best way for you to vent those emotions. So first, if your coping mechanism is a detriment to you and a detriment to those around you, like I said, we're going to replace it with something healthy. But let's discuss some of those detrimental habits that people fall into. The ones that people tend to talk about the most are alcoholism and drug addiction. So with alcoholism, it's not just you that you're hurting. You're hurting your liver, you're hurting your kidneys, you're hurting your heart, you're hurting your brain, you're hurting all those things. But it's also one of those habits that can get out of control and spiral into something that affects not just you, but now also affects your family. It affects your your children, your husband, your wife, your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your cousin, anyone who loves you, including your friends. So we want to make sure that we can find a better way to handle our problems than alcohol. The other is drug addiction. Drug addiction can be such a terrible place to find yourself. Being addicted to something, whether it's a controlled substance, a prescription, an illegal drug, whatever it is, it's such a hard place to find yourself in, because not only do you no longer have control of the reins of your life, but you have given it over to something that is going to cause you to steal, will cause you to lie, will cause you to just do things that you never thought you would do in order to get that next fix. So we want to try to stay away from that too, especially if you have an addictive personality, and identify that in yourself. Identify the fact that when you get into something, whether it's good or bad, you go in at 150% and you don't focus on anything else. You are tunnel visioned in and laser focused on that one thing. That's indicative of an addictive personality. And you want to try to find coping mechanisms that pull you away from those addictive things. The next thing is cutting. A lot of people don't think that that's something that people do, or it's just something for young girls, but lots of men do it too. It's a secret, but it's a detriment to just you, or at least you think that it's just you. Every single time you make a cut on yourself, you run the risk of hitting a vein, hitting an artery, hitting something that's going to bleed, and you can't stop that bleeding. When that happens, what do you think the people around you are going to be able to do? If you can't stop the bleeding and they can't stop the bleeding and you die, that is a punishment for the people around you who love you. The other is burning. Now, burning is not as likely to cause a death, but it's just as bad as cutting, as far as like the mental strain and stress that you put on yourself, as well as the pressures that you're putting on your body. Those burns, some of them can get to be really bad, and if they become infected, or if you've burned down into a tendon, I mean literally held that match, that lighter, that whatever that heat source is, right down to it, I mean, you could cause so much damage, and some of that is going to be irreparable. And what then do you do at that point, now that you've caused irreparable damage to yourself? Someone has to not pay for it, but someone has to be there to try and fix those things. And if you can't fix them, now you're leaning on someone else to fix them. The next one I want to talk to you about is anorexia. Anorexia is a horrible disease, and most people think that it's a disease of choice, that people got into this by choice, and it's not. It's a disease of control. They initially started using this particular coping mechanism because everything in their life felt like it was out of control. They felt like it was everywhere. They felt like they didn't have any say-so or any input in their life at all, and so they turned to what they could control, and what they found they could control was what they ate, or what they didn't eat for that matter. So that is one of the harshest things that you can put your body through, is to simply not eat, not drink. Your body begins to feed on itself. Your organs are affected, your heart, your lungs, your brain, your skin is even affected. Your hair falls out, your nails break. Like, you are starving your body of every bit of nutrients that it needs in order to just wake up in the morning and survive. It's a slow process, but it is definitely the process of causing yourself a death every single day. And we don't want to see that happen simply because of something that someone put you through, or a bad experience, or a learning experience that you had to encounter in order to become the person you are today. You excessively exercise when you do that, which puts strain on your bones or your joints, and you're not feeding them any of the nutrients that they need in order to stay healthy, so they will also break down. The bones become brittle. It's just a mess. The other is bulimia. The other side of that is bulimia. Bulimia is when a lot of people may not know what that is, but that's when people eat a whole bunch and then throw it all up again. It's called binging and purging. That is a tough one to break. It can be so easy to stay in that pocket and to hold that coping mechanism, because of the fact that it creates a quiet for a lot of people. And I say a lot of people in that I'm talking about me. When I was in high school and even in college, I was a bulimic. I'm still recovering bulimic, because don't get me wrong, I still have those thoughts sometimes. I think about eating a bag of Oreo cookies and then throwing it all up again, simply because I have some stresses that are going on, or I've been going through this journey with uncovering and kind of finally dealing with the experiences that I've had, the learning experiences and the growth opportunities that I've had, that have caused me to have PTSD, that have caused me to need to go through the process of fishing through all those things and finding the good parts. So as a bulimic, you don't lose any weight. You can maintain what looks like a healthy body weight, but inside of your body, your organs are going through the ringer. Your heart is one of the biggest ones that are affected. Bulimics are known for having heart issues and heart attacks, simply because you are still depriving your body of the nutrients that it needs, even though you look perfectly fine on the outside. It's invisible to the outside world, and most people would never know that it's something that you're doing, but you know it and your body knows it. And so what I want to do is make sure that, one, you're aware that those coping mechanisms are extremely detrimental to you, and that the people around you love you, and that they don't want to see you hurting. And so what I would recommend for you to do is to find healthy coping mechanisms. Find a way to sing through the trouble. I highly recommend music for anyone who needs to find a quiet space, find a Zen space, find any place that's away from the hustle and bustle of their day and from all of the chaos that they may be trying to deal with, whether it's through counseling or simply through writing. So go to counseling, write, sing, dance, exercise within reason. Believe me, excessive exercise can hurt you, and it's not helping you. It simply will hurt you. Let's see what else you get. Coloring, meditation, movies. I'm all about a movie. If I feel really, really horrible, I will find a movie that has some of the happiest themes in it, or just one of my absolute favorite 80s flicks, and turn it on, and sometimes it can just as quickly flip the switch. I want you to know that there are other ways out there for you to handle the stresses and the feelings of being overwhelmed from past experiences. Just like yesterday, but the last video when we were talking about the past being dead, there's nothing that you can do about that. Yesterday is gone, and you don't want to use today as a means to quiet or as a means to kind of quelch what happened yesterday. What you want to do is use today to celebrate all the joys and all those little places that you yourself have experienced in the fullest, in the light, in the bright parts of the day. So that being said, I'm not going to keep you guys long. I'm hoping to keep the videos somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes, just because I know that everyone wants to come in. They want to be able to hear whatever I have to say and then get out of here. They're not looking to talk to us for a whole hour. There may eventually be videos that are a little longer, but as you can see, the puppies don't hold their quiet but for 10 or 15 minutes. Alexa, hush. So anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share. I would love to know what your coping mechanism is, or if there's another coping mechanism that you think I should talk about that may be a healthy one for people to replace it with, whether it's cooking or hanging out with friends, whatever it is that you think is great for people who might need a way to cope with some of the stresses in their lives as they deal with some of the trauma from their past. So guys, again, this is Jennifer Chappelle with Heart Sweet Warriors Forum. I'm so glad that you're here with me. I'm always glad to see you. It makes my heart happy every single time you view the video, whether it's in the morning, the evening, the night, the day I post it, or 10 years later. You guys know that I'm thinking about you, and if no one else tells you that they love you and appreciate you, I love you, I appreciate you. I think that you're amazing. Thanks for being here today. Like I said, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share. And I will see you guys next week.